Why the universities are important in this perspective? Because university which are at the tertiary level of education and has the capacity to do the research, and that with the research means the evidence-based research, which help us in highlighting the various sectors which has the potential for the countries, the trade for exploring trades potential between the countries. So we will provide our utmost assistance and in developing not only strategic document but as well as the research document as well, in which both of the countries can collaborate in a number of areas, whether that's maybe science and technology diplomacy, culture diplomacy, sports diplomacy, and obviously the trade diplomacy. I congratulate University of Sialkot and its leadership, Mr. Rehan Yunus Saab, who is the executive director of the university, and as well as Mr. Faisal Manzoor Saab and Mr. Rahmat Saab for giving us this platform to explore the possible collaboration between the two countries. I am much thankful, particularly to the ambassador, Pakistan's ambassador in Morocco, I think, who acted as a catalyst for developing the trade ties between the two countries, particularly with the business community, industrial culture clusters which exist in Morocco. And obviously from Pakistan perspective, the Sialkot is considered to be one of the most important city in Pakistan where entrepreneur skills exist in the various clusters in Sialkot. Much congratulations to Pakistan Embassy in Morocco for setting us an example and taking such bold initiatives. And the Honorable Minister is his support is highly acknowledged. I think we must try hard to make this university embassy industry model successful and set an example for others to follow. Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Rahmatullah, Director, Center of Innovation and Competitiveness Studies, University of Sialkot, to present Trade to Morocco, University of Sialkot, 10x growth vision of Golden Triangle of Pakistan. Over to you, Rahmat sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There is a background of this presentation as well, or this activity as well. University of Sialkot has assumed its role, which is normally called third mission of the universities. Universities normally had first vision, that is teaching, second vision, that is research, and now there is an emergence of third vision called entrepreneurial university. So it is the vision of University of Sialkot to contribute in its region where it's located and across the region as well. So now university has assumed an entrepreneurial role where university would like to make some impact in economic growth, in social development, in export and GDP contribution. This is the role which is assumed by many universities led by university. So University of Sialkot assumed this role of mobilizing, developing such kind of interventions and activity, their socio-economic impact is possible. So we have planned a 10x growth plan here in our district, Sialkot, and the region which is called Golden Triangle. We call it GTA. So it is the central place for many economic activities of Pakistan. We export around 5 billion from this region out of 30 billion these days. And we have significant 15 to 20% share in GDP as well. So our university aim is actually to impact this region, and we developed a vision of 10x growth vision that we will lead the 10x growth here in this region. And this growth will be inclusive, sustainable in all the aspects, including infrastructure, economic, education, and leading to the economic output like export and GDP growth and per capita income and overall human development index. So our university will play the role of facilitating this 10-time growth. We will be like a platform for all the stakeholders. We will connect stakeholders. We will be working with the RIFA Policy Institute, other institutes, chambers, trade bodies for policy advocacy and policy research. And now we will be joining embassies like Embassy of Morocco for this special task. We will be incubating new companies and also helping old companies to venture into new areas like e-commerce and such other areas. So now moving towards more technical area and especially trade with Morocco. Presently, we have negligible export to the Morocco, but we have some imports from Morocco, and the statistics itself shows that there is something serious to be done. And trade volume between Morocco and Pakistan is also not that significant. We have number of items around 50 where we deal in terms of trade, import or export. But if you look at these only 5 HS codes, you will see that we export very tiny amount. And let's see, cotton, it's hardly worth of 13 million, whereas Morocco exports cotton worth of 400 million USD. It means the window of opportunity is quite big here. Similarly, if you see other rows, you will realize that there is a significant opportunity window for business communities to venture into expanding the current trade. We are not asking about setting up new ventures and new investments and totally out of the way industries 4.0 or such. We simply can be a catalyst to enhance the ongoing trade to some extent that we have some balance and reach to somewhere that we call it significant level. So this is a quite big opportunity for Pakistani business community to fill that gap and catch this opportunity window. This is the Pakistan Business Council report that says that Pakistan and Morocco have trade potential of 10 billion. So this is the potential we can catch. Now, one thing we need to do in order to catch this 10 billion trade potential is, like Dr. Rashid said, moving from an isolation working to something we may call it an integrated working. And for that, we need a compelling vision first. That vision can drive all the stakeholders towards that. So currently we assume that it is an industry only that has the 100% responsibility to do the trade. So it's an industry who will produce, it is an industry that will export, it is an industry that will contribute in the GDP and the country economy will grow. And this will not happen unless the industry is backed by the whole society, including policy domain, including diplomacy domain and other segment of the society. So we need to have a shift and a serious shift from an isolation-led economic growth and export growth towards an integrated growth model where government is proactive, like Honorable Ambassador has played this role and his team as well. And academia need to gear up and chip in this activity. Similarly, industry need to accept that role and take this integration approach more open-heartedly so that all stakeholders can connect with each other. Similarly, we need to have some diversification in this current export as well. Only having trade will no longer work unless it is backed by some new initiatives like adding e-commerce, like adding IoT, like adding some logistics planning, and such things. So we need to add some new tools which are quite active now a time in the world, including policy advocacy and policy drive for the business community. So we need to have some diversified approach for that development. Similarly, we need to add new kind of face and new dimensions into this policy drive. That must include, like Dr. Rashid said, education diplomacy, culture diplomacy, sports diplomacy. These all dimensions of the society actually help the trade to boost. So we need to add that very actively in our activities in order to grow in this area. So coming towards a compelling vision, we propose that Morocco and Golden Triangle must have a compelling vision of having a 5 billion trade volume between Morocco and Golden Triangle. And let me share one thing also here. Economic policy has also shifted from a country-based to a region-based to a district-based. Now, most of the fast developing economies and countries do not base their economic plan as an entire country economic plan. They base on geographically segmented economics hubs. So they plan all the activities according to that geographic location and that hub. Innovation cluster. So the planning of economic growth must be planning and region of Golden Triangle can have a 5 billion trade volume. And if we develop this, that compelling, this will drive us and this will actually put us on course to keep catching this vision, and we will all be inspired and driven by this vision. And we can achieve it in next few years if we get together and work in that line. Now, being more specific to what Golden Triangle can do for Morocco. So we have a good strength here in terms of technical textile in Sialkot. So we have studied and we will produce some reports later. But we have some ideas that Morocco needs some medical textile, needs some inputs in medical textile. So there is a good opportunity in Morocco as well. So we have a good strength in sportswear. Sialkot is known for the sportswear. So we can find some opportunity in Morocco in terms of sportswear. Then we have a good strength of ceramics in Gujranwala. Then we have a good strength of electronics, auto part, agri machinery in that area, and including all light engineering goods. So we can explore that opportunities in Morocco as well, because this is a strength. And by adding few more tools to this strength, like efficiency, like quality standards, like certification, so we can do compliance of all the certification, like Morocco demand SGS certification for export. So doing certain investment, we can comply to that certification and move on. Similarly, we produce music instruments here. Also, Morocco needs processed food, they import. So we are good in agri-base as well, but processing of food is quite good in Pakistan. We have good amount of industries and factories that produce confectionery and bakery and other packed food. So this is also area where Morocco and Pakistani business community can connect with each other. Again, this needs to be seriously backed by diplomatic drive for policy, and we also have set up two interventions here, again with the help of Honorable Ambassador and brainchild. The African Study Center that is set up in University of Sialkot that will produce policy research, economic study, and such things. Similarly, we are setting up Africa House to mobilize and catalyze this development and facilitate. So education could be the first thing to start with. Pakistani education sector can invest in Morocco by setting up good quality schools and higher education universities. Pakistan has a good higher education, which is now our research is ranked and being compared with the BRICS countries. So we can look into that area as well. The Pakistan gives some inputs to develop higher education, private higher education sector in Morocco. So now, what Morocco friends can send to Gujranwala division and what they can do here is Pakistan import large amount of sulfur because we're agriculture country. So we use this in feed, in fertilizer and other industrial chemical production. So it's a big demand. We spend 136 million on sulfur, and import from Morocco is just for worth 42 million. So this is a good gap here. So after having some planning and some drive, export from Morocco to Pakistan can be easily increased because it is already in place. We just need to strengthen it. Similarly, phosphate, the same case. We have good demand here in Pakistan, and we can increase this export from Morocco to Pakistan. Similarly, we import pulses here in Pakistan. So it's quite big amount of 660 million. And we couldn't find data either we import from Morocco or not. But majorly it is not mentioned in any database that we Pakistan import pulses from Morocco. So that could be the start, very quick start that after having some policy analysis, duty analysis, we can adjust the things and start this. In Pakistan, in Sindh, Hyderabad, we have in Sargodha also, we have a big pulses processing industry as well. So we can connect with our Morocco friends in a very short time. Similarly, Morocco has a good strength of, it is going to be a very big film making industry in Morocco. You guys have very good infrastructure there. So Pakistan lagged there. Although Pakistan is good in drama production and Pakistan has a historical good record in film production, but that was the past. Now it is the weak area of Pakistan, and Pakistan can learn from Morocco because Lahore used to be and still is the center of art for the world as well. So we are just located nearby the Lahore. So film industry inputs can be there. This in Gujranwala division, or we can set up such, we can replicate simply infrastructure of Morocco here through some giant investment. Similarly, Morocco is quite ahead in green energy, quite good investment and quite good area. And Gujranwala division or GTA is very potential area for solar energy creation as well, because we have a good sun here, and also for a consumption because we are cottage industry, small and medium industries. So we are the quicker consumer of solar energy with little amount bank-based little bit feasibilities. We can be a good consumer of green energy. Similarly, mineral processing, Pakistan couldn't develop those technologies and extract and process our minerals. We have a good worth and good amount of minerals. You name a mineral, it is found in Pakistan. Similarly, we have a big rocks, phosphate rock, big reserves of phosphate rock we have in Abbottabad, but somehow we couldn't develop the technology to extract viably and remove the impurities. So our rock, phosphate rock, has quite good number, big number of impurities. So we can work with Morocco for processing technologies as well. We can trade in minerals, and we can also trade in technology, extraction and processing technology. Similarly, Morocco has good strength in technology parks now. You guys have established technology parks now and SEZs as well. So Pakistan is just catching the surface in this area. So this would be the good area to invest and capitalize on this opportunity, which is just vacant in Pakistan at the moment. Similarly, it's really amazing that within few years and short span of time, Morocco has led to the 50 plus FTAs and 20 plus preferential agreements. So that's a good strength, always appreciated for Morocco. So this area needs to be explored, and economists must explore how Pakistan, or particularly our Gujranwala division, can benefit from the FTAs of Morocco. So again, this we have a win-win situation, which I try to present here. We can get good things from Morocco. Morocco can good things from our Gujranwala division, and very easily we can achieve the dream of 5 billion trade volume if we exploit and explore these areas. So phosphate fertilizer is just a ready opportunity to strengthen and capitalize on it, because we import fertilizer from Oman, from Urdan, from Miss Egypt. So we can channelize. And our area, Golden Triangle, is also an agriculture-based area. So GTA is itself a big consumer of sulfur and phosphate-based products and chemicals. So next milestone is which I propose. We must have an annual Africa Trade Conference and Expo in Pakistan, where Pakistani and Morocco business community interact with each other. We exchange our strength. We find new ways to work together. Similarly, cultural shows and tourism shows and visits and exchange must be supported. And what I know is His Excellency Ambassador is quite sold in that areas, quite visionary man. So I think he will lead in those fronts as well. And similarly, we must start academic exchange, faculty exchange, student exchange, because people-to-people connectivity and people-to-people exchange is the foundation of economic growth. So we may find more areas as well. Similarly, our Africa Study Center will start some feasibilities for business community, and we may jointly do that activity. Honorable Ambassador may connect us with few universities in Morocco as well. So we connect with them, the economists in the teaching in the universities and doing research in Morocco. So we may develop some joint feasibilities and programs for economic interventions. Similarly, we have started Africa House, which would be the one window for business community to get all the information, awareness, sport, and commercial ventures. One window Africa we are going to develop. This is again a brainchild of Honorable Ambassador. Similarly, we will be having an e-commerce portal for this exchange. So we will use e-commerce as a tool to drive this economic growth. Lastly, because we are the city of Iqbal and this Sialkot is the city of Iqbal, so I would like to end on the Iqbal insight here, because we have a good dream, rather a big and challenging dream of having a 5 billion trade volume between Morocco and Pakistan. In order to materialize this dream, we have some learning from the Iqbal, and Iqbal says, the universe is moved by warmth of love. Knowledge deals with the attributes. Love is the vision of essence. So it is actually the spirit, it is actually the vision, it is actually the commitment, and it is actually the power of belief that can turn into reality. So let's put our energies and hands together to materialize this dream. Thank you very much. उर्दू में जी इश्क गर्मी से है मार्का ए कायनात इल्म मकामे सिफात इश्क तमाशा इज़ात.
So now I would like to invite Mr. Zubair Tufail, Chief Executive, Tufail Chemical Industries, Karachi, and he was also working as President of Federation of Pakistan to Chambers of Commerce and Industries, Karachi. Sir, over to you, please, and share your views about trade with Morocco. Sir, over to you, please.
Morocco, I would say that from Morocco, our bilateral trade was heavily in favor of Morocco. And we were having very little to export to Morocco. Raw phosphate and also phosphoric acid. These both products were being used by our fertilizer plants in Pakistan, mostly, especially in Karachi. There is a Fauji fertilizer at Bin Qasim. And they were also joint partner Moroccan industry in the Moroccan phosphatic industry. They both are joint ventures. So they were under obligation to import most of the phosphate from Morocco. And as such, this imports of
fertilizer was something around $300 million per year, and currently going on because we need it and we have to import it from overseas. There are two major countries who can export phosphate, raw phosphate or phosphate rock to Pakistan. They are Morocco and second is Jordan. And as the Fuji fertilizer plant has more close relations in Morocco, so they are mostly importing it from Morocco. And as such, it is going on and it will continue in the coming years to come. But unfortunately, our exports to Morocco are very low. It can be whatever we are importing, and hardly we are exporting 10% of that to Morocco, which needs to be looked by all the industries. And I can say that the Gujranwala division has great opportunity to export their products to Morocco. Morocco is a very friendly country. And I would like to say at the moment, Moroccan economy is also under extreme pressure, especially in after the Morocco was mostly earning their major foreign exchange earning was coming from the tourism industry. They have very good, and it was mostly coming from Europe or the United. The COVID spread, this tourism industry collapsed in Morocco, and they were very much dependent on their earnings from them. And in fact, their economy was contracted in the last year by 14%. And only in this year, last 6 to 8 months, gradually the Moroccan economy is improving because they have done vaccination has been done to the bigger, I would say more than 70% vaccination has been done. This country's population is around 37 million people, and I understand what I checked from the stats that their drive for vaccination was very strong. The government was getting international support. They were getting vaccines on donation from different parts of Europe and America. So vaccination going well. And they expect that as soon as the situation improves in Europe, the tourists will again come back to Morocco and their economy will improve. Now, again, coming back to our economic trade ties with Morocco, I would say that although the number of 5 billion is very tough and very, I would not like to discourage. Rather, I would like to encourage the people of Gujranwala division. There is ample opportunities for them to increase their exports. They should go and visit. The infrastructure there is very good, and there will be a lot of opportunities. And I can say that the people of Sialkot, or take as a Gujranwala division, but people of Sialkot are the dynamic people. This is the only city in Pakistan which has built their own airport through their own resources without any support from the government. So I can say that. And then other thing is also within Sialkot or around Sialkot also they build roads. So they are very self-driven people. They try to do what else you see when Pakistan is. Now you see total export of Pakistan is about last year was year ending at 30th June 2021. The export was little over $25 billion. And when you talk about that, the Golden Triangle exported $5 billion. So it means 20% of the total export of Pakistan is only coming from Gujranwala division. And this is a very, I would say, it is a great number. The government should understand, government should encourage them more, government should support them more, because Gujranwala is not a port city. It is I think 1,200 kilometers far from Karachi, and still they are exporting goods of $5 billion. So I think all credit goes to them. They have strong chamber of commerce. I have many friends in Gujranwala to whom I know for years, and especially I would like to take the name of Riazuddin Sheikh Sahab. He is my very, very meet in,
And now I would like to invite our chief guest, His Excellency Mr. Hamid Asghar Khan, to share his views about Pak-Morocco trade and economic diplomacy, opportunities and prospects.
Morocco, as you all know, is a country which has a very geostrategic location on the continent of Africa, but it is equally a part of the Mediterranean zone, and also it is the connecting country between Europe and West Africa, the countries of West Africa. Morocco plays, as was pointed out earlier, a very important regional role. So when we are talking of the Moroccan market and connectivity with Morocco, we must understand that this country is placed in a geographic location which can help us to connect with the 1.3 billion market of the ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. Allow me to begin with two challenges that we all face around the world at the moment. The first is, of course, the restrictions because of the pandemic, and flowing from this are the problems with travel. I'm very happy to see my dear friend, Mr. Samir, who is the head of the British School, the London Academy in Rabat and Casablanca. And also I welcome Mr. Tazi Ali, who is our newly appointed honorary consul in Casablanca. Gentlemen, both of you have had discussions with me regarding connectivity with Pakistan. I would just like to state that the very first thing we have to do as soon as the travel conditions permit is to organize a business delegation to Pakistan, and particularly to Sialkot. Sialkot, as has been pointed out, is one of the major export centers of Pakistan. And it is a city which is characterized by entrepreneurs who are very, very dynamic. It is perhaps the only city in the world where the businessmen of the city have built their own airport. They have got their own airline. They have got their own customs dry port. And this is the city from where the World Cup footballs are also manufactured. I had the immense pleasure to address the students of University of Sialkot during my last visit to Pakistan. And I must commend them for having the vision to start the Africa Study Center. Advocacy, ladies and gentlemen, is something which is very important. We have to emphasize to our government and to our policy makers that they must look at the growing and the booming market of Africa. Equally important is the concept of Africa House, which will be a private sector entity which will connect businesses on both sides. I'm happy that Mr. Samir is able to participate in this seminar today, because the University of Sialkot is a private sector university which is dynamic with a very large student population. And as we have discussed, there can be many opportunities for cooperation and collaboration. Morocco has a lot to offer, not only to its region, but to the world and also to Pakistan. I would suggest that the environment, water studies, and green energy, as well as local governments, these are certain topics in which Pakistan can benefit from the expertise that Morocco has acquired in these areas. Tourism, of course, has been mentioned, and Morocco in the last year before the pandemic was able to receive 13 million tourists from around the world. So this is another area in which there can be a lot of collaboration. I'm happy to inform you that the largest tour group in Pakistan is going to be put through to the largest tour operator in Morocco, courtesy of Mr. Tazi Ali. And we hope that specific packages will be designed so that business and family visitors from Morocco can go to Pakistan, and vice versa, they can visit Morocco also. In the socio-cultural context, something that I was delighted to learn and develop a better understanding of is the spirit of tolerance and moderation that I find all over the Kingdom of Morocco. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many similarities between Pakistan and Morocco not the least being that both countries are 99.5 or 99.86% Muslim populations. His Majesty the King himself leads by example, and the spirit of tolerance, moderation, and cultural acceptance that one finds in the kingdom is something which is not only laudable, but it is something which is certainly worthy of replication. The embassy remains available to facilitate all colleagues, friends, entrepreneurs, and people from every sector, be it business, be it investment, be it trade, whether they are in Morocco or whether they are in Pakistan. Our colleague, the commercial counselor based in Casablanca, is also here on the screen. I would encourage all of you to share your ideas with him also. Of course, the visits and participation in trade fairs is something which is very, very important. In 2022, Pakistan, inshallah, is going to host a very large trade fair. It is going to be an exhibition in which 35 countries from around the world are going to be participating. And we hope for a very robust participation from Morocco as well. I will just end once again by congratulating the University of Sialkot for the Africa Studies Center. I look forward to reading the material which is produced by this center, and I also hope that you will allow us to give our inputs to this center. I will conclude by saying that the lack of awareness and the lack of understanding of the opportunities on both sides, in my humble opinion, is the biggest challenge. For most people in Pakistan, Morocco is a mystery. Of course, being a well-known country in the world, the name is known, but beyond that, the opportunities, the situation on the ground, the way that this kingdom is developing, it is really not known. And similarly in Morocco, the size of Pakistan, the vibrancy of Pakistan, the opportunities that Pakistan presents in terms of volume because of our population, and also the diversity of the opportunity that Pakistan has, this is not known. So I will request everybody in this seminar, and especially the organizers, to please try and devise a mechanism for the public exchange of information and some media projection of opportunities from both sides in the other country, so that we may enhance connectivity across a diverse range of areas. With these few words, I thank you very much, and I wish everybody good luck. And I hope that we are able to build upon this seminar, this Zoom meeting, and have concrete connectivity between entrepreneurs and investors and businessmen from both sides. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. And sir, I want to ask one thing. Did you receive inauguration slide for Center of African Studies?
Yes, and I did indeed. I did.
Yes. So, sir, now it's time for inauguration. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome very honorable His Excellency Mr. Hamid Askar Khan, Ambassador of Morocco, Ambassador of Morocco, Ambassador of Pakistan to Morocco, Ambassador of Pakistan to Morocco, to inaugurate Center of African Studies. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure for me today as the Ambassador of Pakistan at Rabat to inaugurate the Center of African Studies, which is being set up by the University of Sialkot along with the RIPA Institute of Public Policy. I do hope that this study center is going to not only contribute to policy advocacy in Pakistan, but it is going to be a catalyst which is going to bring the entrepreneurs, the public and the private sector of Pakistan and Morocco together. I congratulate everybody, and I will encourage the Africa Studies Center to engage with everybody, with all stakeholders, And I assure you that the Embassy of Pakistan will be an equal partner in driving the bilateral relationship forward. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much. Sir, I would like to request to share that slide to show the formal online inauguration of Center of African Studies.
Slide, I think you are going to have to do it because I have it on my phone. I don't have it on my laptop. So if you can share the slide, or
yes.
I can.
Yes. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for us that we have established Center of African Studies at University of Sialkot with the collaboration of Rifa Institute of Public Policy and Pakistan Embassy in Rabat. So congratulations to all the participants and all the institutes who are collaborating for this center. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I will request that the university must reach out to the media. You must reach out to the press. I cannot overemphasize on both sides, in Morocco as well as in Pakistan, that the media has a very important role to play in raising awareness of the opportunities. And it is only through awareness that we can have enhanced connectivity and enhanced cooperation and collaboration. So please share your press release with us also, so that we can also spread the good word. And I will request the Africa Study Center to host the ladies and gentlemen of the media, because they are going to be your partners in spreading the message. And the government has an Engage Africa policy, which has been approved by the Honorable Prime Minister a year and a half ago. We have opened 5 new embassies in Africa, and the government is very keen to enhance relations with Africa. And for this, we need the help of the media. So the Africa Study Center, it is my request, must have very cordial, very close ties with the media in Pakistan. And it is the same thing that we are trying to do over here in Morocco, develop good ties with the ladies and gentlemen of the press. Thank you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, Mr. Hamid Asghar, Ambassador of Pakistan to Morocco. And sir, I assure you, University of Sialkot will cooperate in every sector, in trade, in education sector, as well as in technology transfer to Morocco to promote all these areas in Morocco as well as in Pakistan. So thank you so much for your valuable words. Ladies and gentlemen, now this is time for the question and answers. So the session is open for discussion for business community of Morocco and Pakistan. All the dignitaries are invited for question answers. So over to you. And I have received some question in my chat box as well. So the house is open for all of you.
May I request if our Honorary Consul, Mr. Tazi Ali, could say a few words, and Mr. Samir from the London Academy British School in Rabat. I would request both of them to share their views with the panel. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Yes, sir, over to you, please.
Okay, so I'm first really honored for this this new nomination, and I will be fully involved in this new mission. There is a lot of things to do in terms of economy, because it's a little bit my main objective to try to do my best to facilitate the exchange. And when I see the figures, effectively, there is a lot of things to do, and in many fields. Agriculture, like we said, medical items, sport items. So I'm pretty sure that there will be a great job, and a lot of things to do. And once again, I would like to thank the Excellency by this trust, and And there's a lot of things. I also organized and make like a kind of business plan with some action that will be done very soon. So it will be done, and there's a lot of action that will be done according to the kind of business plan from the next weeks. So it's just a small and quick words. Thank you very much again. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Sameer. Sir, please share your views about our session. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for inviting me to this session. It is clear that we have tangible relations to develop that are to the economic and social benefits of both countries. As Morocco is moving towards the Anglo-Saxon world, and Pakistan being part of that world, we have a lot to gain. I can talk about two sectors definitely that we can benefit from collaboration on is the ICT sector and the education sector. And these two are quite impactful on Morocco, impactful also on we can benefit quite a lot from. So, you know, with concrete asks, I think the ambassador knows that I have 2 schools and there's a lot of demand for English education. So having math teachers, science teachers, technology teachers that can come from Pakistan will quite help a lot. On the ICT side, Morocco and Pakistan can really collaborate. We have a lot of startups. We have a lot of ICT companies that have worldwide impact, especially in the financial sector. And if we can bring some know-how from Pakistan, I think there's quite a lot to achieve there. So I'm more in the information age, and that's what we need to focus on to be able to confront the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Ali Hamza. He has some question regarding Pak Morocco development vision. Ali, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you for this opportunity. And hello, everyone, His Excellency, and all the respected members. The presentation that Mr. Ahmed gave, that was very interesting. To tell you the truth, I must admit that I am not well aware of the fact that how much Morocco and Pakistan can go along on trade basis. But once I was listening to Mr. Ahmed, I came to know and realize the actual potential. And congratulations to University of Sialkot and Rifa Institute for opening up this African study center, and that's a need of the hour. My question is just about that. You know, when we listen to ideas and thoughts, definitely we come across lots of ideas. But particularly to start about Morocco and Pakistan relations and to increase and to boost the Golden Triangle and Morocco, where to start from? Can we pick any section, or can we pick any segment or a sector from where we could have a pilot run? We can pilot run the relations, pilot run the advocacy, and pilot run the trade. And then that could be a sort of a kind of example for the future trade relations. So where to start from? That I would love to know.
Gee, if I may respond to Dr. Hamza's question.
Sure, sir.
Dr. Saab, thank you very much for a very pragmatic and very practical question. I myself, over the last 3-4 years that I've been working on Pakistan-Africa relations, I've been thinking along the same lines. The conclusion that I have come to, sir, is that we need to move forward in a sectoral base and on a project base. Now, let me give you an example. Education is a sector. And this is why I'm happy that on one side, we've got the University of Sialkot. On the other side, we've got the British School in Casablanca and Rabat. Now, education collaboration, education cooperation is something which can develop not only a link for today, but also a generational link. For instance, I've always believed that it would be very beneficial to have a cross-pollination of teachers. Teachers from Pakistan can come here on temporary attachments, and teachers from here can go to Pakistan on temporary attachments. Similarly, students, they can come and do one semester or one quarter, in this country, and students from here can go back to Pakistan. So this is one sector. Another specific area I would like to mention is, for instance, it's sports and surgical goods. Now, sports and surgical goods are the strength of Sialkot, a part of the Golden Triangle that we are talking about. And a number of sports and surgical goods are coming from Pakistan. So what I would suggest is that as soon as it is feasible, we should have an exhibition of Pakistani sports and surgical goods made in Sialkot with the collaboration of Africa House, with the collaboration of the Sialkot Chamber of Commerce, which I also visited during my recent trip. We could have an exhibition over here in Casablanca or in Marrakesh or even in Rabat, so that the physical goods are displayed over here to the buyers. I was just receiving a phone call from Balochistan in Pakistan right now. The Balochistan government is very strong in marble mining. Now, I've had this discussion with our Honorary Consul, Mr. Tazi. We are trying to organize an exhibition of marble because Pakistan has got white marble, it has got colored marble, it has got all kinds of granite also, and it is being exported around the world. And with the amount of construction that, mashallah, is taking place in the Kingdom of Morocco, we do see that there is a gap, there is an opportunity for Pakistani marble to come to Morocco. So, without going into further detail, what I will say is that we have to, first of all, identify the opportunities on both sides. And we could do a basket of opportunities, let's say 10 to 12 or 15 opportunities in Pakistan, 15 opportunities over here. And then we have to cross match. We have to, the role of the embassy, the role of the honorary consul, the role of Africa House is going to be to get people to hold hands. You've got to connect the two sides. Where there is the demand and where is the capacity to supply, you have to connect the two sides. So these are the small steps that we can take moving forward. And of course, as I said, that the Islamic trade fair, which we are going to hold in Pakistan in 2022, will be a great opportunity for Moroccan importers to come to Pakistan and see the whole range of products that Pakistan has to offer. So these are my thoughts on this, Dr. Hamza.
Your Excellency, Mr. Ahmed, thank you very much for your profound answer. And here I understand that we have to pick some sectors. And one of a point that you mentioned earlier, and that was too pertinent, and that is about communicating whatever we are doing, the awareness side. For example, if there are connections, there are still connections, and there would be connections in the future, but that connections turn into disconnection when we talk about the masses and the public and the people. So here, I would appreciate this thought, and I have some expertise, and we are working on communicating the projects, communicating science, communicating the relationships, the bilateral relationships that we are working on. And I'm sure we can work together on this project as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. Now I would like to thank very Honorable Dr. Rashid Aftab, Director, Rifa Institute of Public Policy, Islamabad. Mr. Rahmatullah, Director, Center of Innovation and Competitiveness Studies, Mr. Zubair Tufail, Chief Executive, Tufail Chemical Aid Industries, Karachi, and very honorable, His Excellency, Mr. Hamid Asghar Khan, Ambassador of Pakistan to Morocco, for your valuable time. Sir, University of Sialkot is very thankful to you for your precious time. You joined this session and share your views to all of us. I would like to end this webinar with these words. Our two countries are close friends, old friends. We enjoy excellent cooperation, both bilaterally across many sectors, as well as at multilateral fora. Pakistan and Morocco enjoy extremely cordial and friendly relations, and more dedicated efforts are required from both sides to further improve two-way trade, economic, and educational linkages up to real potentials. Thank you all for joining this prestigious event. Take care and goodbye. Pakistan Zindabad.